equations or solving linear equations algebraically. So these are things where you have to isolate for a letter, okay? So basically you have a letter and then you are moving everything away from that letter. So when you have fractions, you need to eliminate the fractions, and you can do that by multiplying each term in the equation by the least common multiple. So basically you're finding a common denominator everywhere, okay? For all the terms you want to find a common denominator so you can get rid of that fraction. We'll look at examples to do this. You're going to eliminate any brackets by using the distributive property. How do you spell distributive? D-I-S-T-R-I-T-U-T-I-V-E. And then you're going to rearrange the equation to eliminate, or to, the equation to isolate and solve, to isolate the variable and solve. So your goal is to leave your letters on one side and all the other numbers on the other side so you can actually solve for that. So remember that we're going to use BEDMAS backwards in this case. We're going to do opposite operation to undo the operation, and what you do to one side you must also do to the other side. So let's look at how can we do this. 12 divided by m equals to 3. What do I do in this case? M is in the denominator, and that's not a good thing. You don't want to have your variable in the denominator. You want your variable in the numerator. How can I make my variable in the numerator?
Multiply m by 3.
That's right. So you do you guys remember this? If I have a, like, this is basically 3 over 1, right? And then basically you can cross multiply, okay? So what you have here is 1 times 12, which is 12, equals to 3m, okay? Think about it in another way. You are dividing by m. Oops. You're dividing by m. What's the opposite operation of division? Multiply. So when you bring the m over, it becomes a multiplication. So you can think of it in different ways, okay? You can do cross multiplication, or you can think of it as doing opposite operation, right? Where instead of division, you're doing multiplication. Now I want the m by itself. How do I get rid of that 3?
Divided by 12.
Divide by, so divide 12 by 3, right? Divide by 3,
Yeah.
right? So basically, to get rid of that 3, you're going to have to divide both sides by 3 so I can get rid of it. Okay? This is basically what we're doing. Or you can think of it as I'm bringing that 3 over here. It's a multiplication. It becomes a division. So there's 2 ways that you can think of it. So that m is equal to 4. Okay? So first thing, because m is in the denominator, I want to get rid of it from the denominator. So I multiply, I bring it to the other side, and I do multiplication by m. Then my next step is, because I had this, my next step is to get rid of that 3. To get rid of that 3, I divide by 3, right? Because if you can think about it as bringing this over here and becomes 12 over 3 equals to m. Or you can think of it as I'm dividing both sides by 3. Either way works. Are we okay with this? Now, let's look at the next question, and you want to isolate for d. Okay? want to ask you a question. If you are given a value for D, if I give you a value for D and I say D is 2, okay? What would you do first to evaluate? So if I give you a value for D and I say D is 2, what do you do?
Substitute the value.
Okay, and then you do 2 times 2
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
then you add 1,
Yes.
then you divide by 7, yes?
Yes.
This is the process that your head is going to do the math, right? If I tell you that, don't write this down. If I tell you that D is 2, you're going to do this. You're going to do 2 times 2, which is 4. Then you're going to add the 1, right? And then you're going to divide by 7. Make sense? Does that make sense to you? Okay. Now, when I'm isolating, I have to do BEDMAS backward. So whatever I do last, I have to get rid of first. So what did I do last here? What would I do last? Divide by 7. So what's the first thing I want to get rid of?
Multiplication.
I want to get rid of the division by 7, which is multiplication. Does it make sense to you? So you're going to do reverse BEDMAS. Okay? The last thing that you do in the regular solution, in the regular substitution, you want to get rid of first. Okay? So you want to get rid of that division by 7 first. Because that's the last thing you're going to do right here when you divide 5 by 7. Okay? How can I get rid of a division by 7? What's the opposite of division by 7? Multiplication by 7. So I can bring that division over, or you can think about it as cross multiplication. We have 2D plus 1 equals 3 times 7. What's the next thing I want to get rid of?
Positive 1.
The plus 1, right? Because that's the middle thing that I do when I do my regular math, right? So if I bring this over, the 1 over, what does it become? Minus 1. So I have 2D equals 21 minus 1. So that means 2D equals to 20. And what's the last thing I have to do? 2 divided by 2. Yep. So you're going to have to divide by 2 because you have a multiplication by 2 here, right? So to get rid of that 2, you're going to have to divide by 2. So D equals to 10. Okay? If I plug in 10 here, 2 times 10 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21. 21 over 7 is 3. Okay? So first I got rid of that division by 7. Then I got rid of that addition by 1. Then I divided by that 2. The last thing you want to get rid of is your coefficient. The coefficient of the leg. That's the last thing you want to get rid of. So a good thing about the next one, it doesn't have any fractions. When it doesn't have fractions, it's a little easier. Okay? It has brackets, so I need to get rid of the brackets. How do I get rid of the brackets? Yeah, distributive property, right? So multiply the negative 3 by both terms inside the bracket. So that is negative 3x minus 6, negative 3x equals.
8.
Multiply that 4 in, so it's going to be 8 minus 20x. Are you guys okay with this? So far all what I did is I got rid of the brackets. Now I want to move all the x's to one side and all the numbers to the other side. Okay? So I have two x terms here. So I have this one and this one. So all what I have to do is move the negative 20x over and move that negative 6 to the other side. You guys understand that part? So I have negative 3x minus 3x. When I bring the negative 20x over, it becomes positive 20x. And I have 8. Again, I'm going to bring the negative 6 to the other side, and that becomes a positive 6. So you see right now, I have my like terms on the same side. Okay? So I can collect them. So negative 3x minus 3x plus 20x, so that gives me 14x. Equals to 14.
40x.
Yeah, so it's negative 6, right? Negative 6x plus 20x. Now to get rid of that 14 with the x, I have to bring it over as a division. So that becomes x equals to 14 over 14, which is 1. One. Do you guys get something else? Are you guys okay with this?
Yes.
This is easier than the one where you have the fractions. Yeah. So here's another one with fractions, but this is a little bit easier, okay? Because there's fractions on both sides, and then the fraction is under everything. So you see how the fraction is under both y minus 7 and y minus 2, okay? So it's easier than if you have this. Don't write this, okay? It's easier than if you have this. Okay? This is easier than this. Whenever you have the fraction under the whole thing, you can simply cross multiply. If you have something like this, you must find a common denominator for everything. Okay? If you have some, and then there is a question like this in your homework in the sheets, so I will go over that question when you guys have a chance to do it. But this is different than when you have this. I just want you to know. So when I have something like this, what can I do here to get rid of my fraction?
Multiply 4 by y minus 7 and multiply 3 by 4y minus 2.
Yes. So we call this cross multiply, right? So you multiply this by this and this by this. Okay? This is what you need to do to get rid of this fraction. All right? So it will be 4 times y minus 7 and equal to 3 times y minus 2.
Why do you do the 4 first, not the 3 first?
Well, what do you mean by that? I'm doing them both together, right? So I'm multiplying the 4 by this and then the 3 by
But can
this.
you do the positive, the other way?
So,
Can you do 3 times y negative 2?
so you want to write it this way?
Yeah. Can I do it like that?
Yeah.
Or do I have to do
No, that's fine. The equal means balance. You
Yeah.
put it on the right, on the left, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Okay. Now the important part is you put the brackets. Okay? Now what do I do because I have the brackets? Multiply. I have to use my distributive property. So that's 4y minus 28 equals to 3y minus 6. Bring the y's to the same side. Bring the numbers to the other side. So I have 4y minus 3y equals to, if I bring the negative 28 over, it becomes a positive 28 minus 6. So 4y minus 3y, that's just a y, equal to 24.